Hello everybody, this is Jack from Fluency.com, and in this English lesson we're going to be talking about my 5-step plan for English fluency. So what we're going to do is create a plan of action so that you can actually reach a C1 level of English. Now, a C1 level is what I call fluency, between C1 and C2. But once you get to a C1 level, then everything becomes much easier. So when you reach this level, an advanced level, it's when you can have conversations with people on a variety of different topics. And it's easy for you to do this, and you don't make many mistakes. So this is a level a lot of learners want to get to, a C1 level. Now you can learn more about the levels of English by clicking the link in the description where I talk about this. But again, in this lesson, we are going to create a plan of action. And this is important because a lot of English learners, they'll do things in English and try to improve without really having a clear plan, without having a strategy so that they can go from a B1 level to a C1 level. So what I want you to do is create your own plan so that you can actually achieve this goal. And these 5 steps are going to help you do that. Now, if you want to get my book, which is free, called The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency, then just go to fluency.com/book, or there is a link in the description. Okay, so let's get started with step 1. And this is all about your why. The reason why you are learning English. And this is an important part of this whole strategy because you need to have the motivation in order to create a plan and to take action on that plan. So it all starts with your why. There's actually a book called It Starts With Why, and I'll leave a link to that in the description too. But this is a really important part. This is a good first step to think about. So just take a little bit of time, maybe after this lesson, and write down the reasons why you want to learn English, why this is important for you. Now, motivation isn't everything, but again, motivation is going to help you create and implement this plan. Okay, so it all starts with why, the reason why you are learning English. And go deep with this, which means think about this in a more profound way. How would it change your life if you had a C1 level of English? Would this help you with job opportunities? Could you move to an English-speaking country? Think about all these different reasons why it's important for you to have a high level of English. Now, step 2 is your goal. And these two are connected because once you create your goal, you can also think about why this goal is important. So see step 1 and step 2 as a connected thing. But your goal is important because think about these 2 sentences that an English learner might say. The first one is, I want to learn English, or I wish I could speak English. I want to learn English, I wish I could speak English. Whereas another learner says, I'm going to have a C1 level of English within 6 months. I am going to have a C1 level of English within 6 months. So the first one, I wish I could speak English, that's not a plan. But the second one, I'm going to have a C1 level of English within 6 months, that has a deadline, okay? It has a deadline. It's saying, I'm going to achieve this by this date. And once you have your deadline and your goal, then you can start creating a plan so that you can achieve that goal. This is vital. This is so important. If you have a goal, then you can actually do things in order to achieve that goal. But if you're just thinking, oh, I wish I had a C1 level of English, then that doesn't give you the impetus to create a plan of action. Okay, so that is step 2, your goal. And then once you have your goal, you can think more about your why. How would my life change if I had a C1 level of English within 6 months? How would my life change? So that is the first, or these are the first 2 steps. Now, number 3, methods. Methods. And this is basically what you do in order to reach your goal, or what you have to do in order to reach your goal. The types of things you need to do on a daily basis in order to get here. Now, these 2 are connected, and these 2 are connected as well. Because you can think of methods as what you do, and your how as how often you do it. We'll talk more about that in a second. Firstly, methods, because there are certain things that you can do that are going to help you achieve this goal, whereas you can do other things that are just going to waste your time. And an example I always like to talk about is if you study grammar tables, okay, or verb tables, where you're looking at all the different verbs and how they are interacting and how to conjugate those verbs. And if you're constantly just looking at grammar rules and you never practice your speaking, then you won't achieve your goal. So it's important to think about the methods that are going to work for you. Now, some of the methods that I think are really effective are listening as much as possible. So to be constantly listening to English so that you can get used to the way people speak. Another method is to use the LRRC method, or the imitation method, where you are copying the way that English speakers speak and you're internalizing grammar rules and learning new vocabulary at the same time. And then another method is to use my reading method and also the writing method. Now I'm going to leave a link to the 4 methods that I've mentioned in the description, so be sure to check those out. And in my book, I talk about these in depth too. So it's important what you do. Now, this is the part a lot of people miss. A lot of people don't think about this as much as they should do. And it's how are you going to do this? How are you going to use the methods that are going to work? So again, these 2 are connected. What you do, how often you do it. Because you can do the most powerful method in the world, but if you only do it for 2 minutes a day, you won't achieve your goal. So this part is really important too. How often are you going to use these methods? And how are you going to do this and fit it into your daily schedule? Because we are all busy. We all have other commitments. Things like jobs and family and different types of hobbies. So you need to look at your schedule, at your calendar, and think about, how can I do this? How can I do the imitation method? How can I listen as much as possible? How can I get more speaking practice? How can I do more writing in English? So this is such an important part of the process, because sometimes when we start a new activity and a new hobby, or we try to learn something new, at first we have all this motivation. We feel pumped up about learning English or learning the guitar, in my case. And then we spend 2 or 3 hours every day doing this. But after a week or 2 weeks, other things get in the way. We realize that this isn't sustainable. So it's important to make it part of your daily routine. Make it part of your everyday life. So some examples, you can do the LRRC method every lunch break at work. So instead of just browsing the internet or going on your phone and playing games, you can do the LRRC method, or the imitation method. You can listen while you are cleaning the house. You can listen to English on your way to work. You can do some writing on your afternoon break. You can watch television in English before you go to bed, while you're in bed at night. So this is such an important part of this whole process. Now, some people will have a lot of time to study, and that's great, but you're probably busy. You're probably thinking, how am I going to implement this into my life? Well, this is also connected too, because if it is really important for you, then you need to make it a priority, which means that you need to make it an important part of your life. So if you have a really strong reason to learn English, then you will find a way to do more in English and to make this part of your life. Okay, so why, goal, methods, how, action. Action. Because all of this can be perfect. This is your strategy. But if you don't take action, and if you don't do it, then nothing's going to happen. You won't achieve your goal. So you need to actually take action on this and get started with it. And a big part of this is being consistent. To do this on a daily basis, to make it part of your life and actually do it. This is a hard part, because again, you might start off feeling really motivated. Your why is strong, you're feeling good, you really want to do it. But after 2 or 3 weeks, it can be quite difficult to do it. So think about ways that you can consistently take action. A good part of this is to hold yourself accountable. Tell your friends you're going to do it. Get an app where you can log your time. Think about other ways that you can connect with people so you take action. And also, a big part of this is making sure that what you do is fun, so that you enjoy it. Because if it's boring, if it's too difficult, then you're more likely going to give up. But if it's fun and enjoyable and it becomes a habit, then you're likely to stay consistent with it and achieve your goal. Okay, so what I want you to do is, firstly, if you don't have it already, to fluency.com/book, go download this, the 5-step plan for English fluency, because I talk about this in more depth, and I also give more information about the methods that you can use. So go download that now, and then in the comment section, let me know what your goal is. Okay? That's an arrow. Let me know what your goal is. Say, I want to have a C1 level, or a C2 level, or a B2 level of English by, and tell me the date. So I want to have a C1 level of English by November, for example. And having this deadline is important, because once you have the deadline, then you can create this plan, so you know exactly what you have to do in order to achieve that goal. Okay, the 5-step plan for English fluency: why, goal, methods, how, action. Go download that book. Check out the description for more resources to help you improve your English, and be sure to leave that comment too. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you found it useful. If you did, please like and share it. Okay, speak to you soon. Bye-bye.